what's most interesting to me about it is, what do you do? I mean, if this was 3 years ago, are you going to go back and punish the kid now? I mean, imagine the impact, not only on him from a standpoint of just being able to earn off name, image, and likeness if they were to suspend him. But even then, like, at what point do you go, well, yeah, that has nothing to do with him now being the starting quarterback for Oklahoma. And nor do we have any sort of information that he has even gambled or done anything since. And so even if there was some sort of wrongdoing, I'm like, well, okay, where's this going to go? Because he did something illegal 3 years ago. And I understand there's people who want to toe the line of saying, well, hey, there's right and wrong, and what he did was wrong. It's like, well, okay, but now because you didn't put in the right, protocols to be able to catch this or find out about this, you're going to penalize him 3 years later, this coaching staff, this team, everyone else around him. I mean, or even if they penalize Washington State. It's like, well, how's that fair? This is 3 years after the fact. This has kind of always been my question and issue with the NCAA is, for example, you'd find out Southern Cal was paying players, and they end up vacating wins, and then they end up putting on suspension 5 years after the fact. And it's like, well, how's that fair to the kids who are there now, who had no idea what they were walking
those
into?
Games, they're expunged. Come on. Yeah. I watched
it's
the
like
game.
we all know. Yeah, we all know how the games went.
Right.
So I sit there and I look at it and I just go, like, even if this was true, what's the punishment going to be? And how's that fair to anyone who's involved just because the kid made a mistake 3 years ago? Even if this is true, which, again, you can doubt the credibility of it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know the circumstances on Venmo and why they were involved. It was with a friend of his. Now, I don't know. They were labeled. Like, I don't use Venmo. So
okay.
I'll use PayPal.
I was going to say I'm right there with you.
You're right.
People I use Apple Pay usually.
Yes.
If for example you're golfing or something,
exactly what I use. Right.
I'll send them Apple Pay, and I'm like, it feels a lot easier because you're already having a text conversation. You don't have to go out of the app to go to another one.
Right.
I feel like I'm on an island here. Like, you use Apple Pay though too?
Yes, I use Apple Pay. I use Apple Pay, PayPal. I'll use those two.
Most people look at me sideways.
Venmo is public, right? So there's a public and a private mode. So you could put it on private mode, but there's a public mode. I just read a story about the PGA Tour. This is crazy, Brady. People are nuts. And you mentioned the gambling thing, which, listen, I think it's it's fun and the whole thing, but it's so dangerous. It really is. I mean, it tears people apart, and it brings out an ugly side of the sports fan. And the PGA Tour guys were talking about how they had to get on Venmo because they were getting these crazy requests and death threats on Venmo, and you owe me $1,900, you missed that putt, and Scotty was saying every once in a while people would send me money. He goes, but it's crazy. Like, you got to put that on private. I don't know how you would be on public mode if you're a public figure on Venmo.
Yeah, I don't know how either. I mean, honestly, probably just better off having someone do it for you, if we're being honest about it. But I just look at this and say it's one of the hardest times to be a prominent athlete. And that's whether you're a professional, even at the college level, which I guess we can call them professionals now, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you go about defining it. They are in the spotlight. There's fans who feel like they have ownership into whatever it is. I mean, even at the college level now, there's a lot of kids between the ability to bet, but also NIL. And these kids getting paid. I think that's completely changed the dynamic or the demeanor that fans and how they treat players younger and younger.
Yes.
And it's tough because it's hard to introduce. I mean, I take my kids on weekends to go sometimes to some of our big noon kickoff stops, and they'll hear things and they'll ask Dad. My daughter's now 9, so she's old enough to. And never my 7-year-old who's got rabbit ears, but they're old enough to ask the question of like, did he just say what I think he did? Or Dad, he just said a bad word. Why is he saying that? And it's hard. Like it's actually like that's the worst part about it is trying to explain to my 7 or 9-year-old like why a grown man would be saying that to a younger kid.
Right.
You know, but like, that's where we're at. You know, that's where we're at with sports, where if everyone feels like they're investing into something or putting their hard-earned money into something, they feel like they have the right to do that.
And it's a million times worse on social media because of the anonymity, right? It's way, like, obviously people wouldn't say that stuff to your face when they meet you, right? Like, you know, all the vile things that is just said. And, you know, part of it is a blessing that you didn't have to deal with that at Notre Dame and in the NFL the way it is now.
Well, in the NFL, when we got there, I mean, we had the Facebook at Notre Dame. So my senior year, you know, that was something that people just, I never really understood why would people want to put their public business out there. It still to this day doesn't make sense for me. Now, I know a lot of people make money off it. A lot of people are doing marketing off it. There's some, so there's some purpose to it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I was always more of the private type in general. And even more than that, I just kind of figured, well, if I was going to do something I wasn't supposed to be doing, I definitely don't want to have to do it where my parents could see it, right? One of my buddies, then girlfriend, now wife, I remember like she used to tell a story how her parents, they would always watch the Hallmark Channel because at Notre Dame they'd have mass. They'd air it on Sunday mornings. And, you know, no matter what she did that Saturday night before, she was always in that front pew. And so that when they were watching all the way from Idaho, that they saw her there at church. They know, all right, all's good in the world. All's good in the world.
That's awesome.
And it's like, and I sit there and say, like, I miss those days because I'm like, there was a period of time where you could make mistakes and the whole world didn't have to see it.
Right.
And these kids aren't dealing with that now. I mean, for example, the other piece of this was the whole Arch Manning part of it, right? Like, didn't something come up with his Venmo?
Yes. Yeah. People were posting fake pictures, you know, on his Venmo.
And here's the thing is, like, by the way, I don't know.
With AI, you don't know what's real, what's not real anymore, by the way.
Well, so you're trying to discern, and like I don't know, like what to think of all of it. I sit there and just kind of say to myself, all right, like he's a young kid, and even if it's true, he's made some poor decisions. Like I feel like there's a number of players like we kind of talk about or say that about, but that's how I look at it. Like it's hard to be too harsh on these kids, even though they're still kind of growing, maturing, they're in the spotlight. It's hard to really come down on them like that,
dude. I'm with you. I feel for him. We have this. We keep receipts. Well, receipts on a 14-year-old and what they're tweeting, and maybe there's no context, maybe it is vile or whatever. But if they're 14, 15 years old, they should have the ability to make a mistake and learn from it. Right. You're going to bring up old tweets from children and stuff that's being said, and who knows what they're thinking, right? Like, they're not rational. They're children. They're kids that are growing, that are going to make mistakes. You said it. Like, allow them to be fallible. We're all fallible. We're human beings. So especially the youth. Like, it is what it is.